Welcome to Finding America HD. I'm Tom Wiles. Today we have a special edition. I did a bit of an experiment at the suggestion of my friend Victor Cahial that does the Typical Mac User podcast, available at typicalmacuser.com. He suggested that I do more sound seeing tours. And then he also, on a whim, he suggested, well, why not do a sound seeing tour and put that out first, which I've done. Put the audio out for it first, and then a few days later put out the video for it. And so what we're going to watch today is the video for the audio portion that I put out a few days ago in my podcast. Now, the reason for doing it this way is the audio, sort of with me describing a particular set of surroundings as I kind of walk around and describe what I'm seeing and looking at and interacting with, so on and so forth. That sort of creates a certain visual image in people's minds based on my descriptive ability. And so he said, well, why don't you do that and then put the video out a few days later and see what the reaction is. See how people, if they compare the images that were formed in their minds by my descriptions only versus me pointing the video camera at what I was actually seeing. And so that's kind of an interesting concept. So that's what today's episode is going to be about. So here we go. Right now I have stopped at it's Kelbaker Road. It's sort of out in the middle of nowhere, and we're going to do an experiment. I have with me my M-Audio recorder, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the recorder on, start it recording. So there you can see it's started recording. We're doing an experiment. I'm going to stick that down in my pocket, and what I'm going to do, it's going to be noisy there, sorry about that. What I'm going to do is, got that in my pocket, I'm going to do a sound seeing tour, but at the same time, I'm going to be recording the video. Now, the sound seeing part is going to be appearing in the audio podcast first, and maybe a week later, I don't know how much later, you'll see this video. So this is an experiment, and it was suggested to me by my friend Victor Cahial. Of course, Victor does the Typical Mac User podcast. We had breakfast this morning together, and we were kind of chit-chatting about podcasting and what have you. And he kind of lamented the fact that the sound-seeing tours that were once prevalent have sort of dried up. You don't hear anybody doing them much anymore, and I don't know why that is, but it's been a long time since I've done that, since I've carried the recorder around in my pocket. And he thought, well, wouldn't it be a neat idea to do a sound seeing tour, but then where that's in somebody's mind, where they've listened to that and they've listened to my descriptions, but then come along about maybe a week later and get to see the same thing that I was actually seeing. Now that sort of depends on how well I run the camera too. But in any case, let me get my fishing hat here so that I don't sunburn my head, because it's very hot here. It's about I don't know. Oh, my truck's at 108 degrees before I slowed down. So it's actually very hot out there. The sun's shining, and this is the desert. This is the real desert. So let's get going. So let me open the door. It's going to be warm out there. It is very warm. So let me spin the camera around and make sure I have my key. Got my key. So close the door. Now while I'm Uh-oh. Well, it's a good thing I looked. I have a little problem here with my reefer unit. This thing is kind of giving me an alarm, so I need to look at my alarm codes. So I shut it off, turn it back on. Let's see, well now I gotta wait for it to come back on. Come on, these things are so slow sometimes. Okay, well I got that thing to start back up, so I'm just going to go ahead and walk around a little bit. We'll see if that thing continues to run. Now what I'm looking at, this is I got off at this exit. It looks like it's Mojave National Preserve Kelso Depot, so it's Kelso or Kelbaker Road, I think is what it said, Kelbaker Road, something like that. So I got off, and of course, being that it's California, a lot of times, especially if you're out in the middle of nowhere, they have a large kind of an area where vehicles can park, mostly trucks, but sometimes people in RVs, and so there are 3 other trucks here parked here besides me. I'm kind of parked over here a little bit by myself. Reefer unit still running, but